punch needle embroidery. What is it? I like to describe punch needle as a fun textile art, and it's almost like a baby between embroidery, rug hooking, and a coloring book hobby because you're kind of coloring in with yarn. The main material is yarn or embroidery. You can create super cute projects. Here are a few examples of what I've made with punch needle embroidery so far. You can make wall art pieces, you can make a tote bag, which is what I'll be showing you today, coasters, handmade rugs, and anything you put your mind to be honest. Let's learn 2 basic stitches for punch needle embroidery. Number 1 is the flat stitch, or the side that you'll be punching on. The next is the loop stitch. The loop stitch is the opposite side of what you're punching on, these cool little loops. This is what I'll be focusing on for this project. Optionally, which I won't be doing in this project, you can shave the loop side to give it a rug look. This would require to adjust your needle longer to accommodate cutting or shaving the loops. I will cover this in a future video. So let's go over the step-by-step how I made this adorable Yoshi tote bag. We'll also go over some mistakes that I would want you to learn from for next time. Step 1. Gather your materials. I've listed all the materials in my description if you need them and if you're interested in starting out. So what you will need for this specific style of project, I'm using the Lavore punch needle 2.5mm. You need a punch needle threader. I'm using the Clover punch needle threader here. You will need something to hold your canvas. Here I'm using an embroidery hoop, which I will link in my description. You will need yarn. I'm using 8/4 cotton yarn size 1 or US yarn weight fingering/sock. This is very important because for this specific project or all punch needle projects, you need to make sure that your yarn size is correct, your fabric size is correct, and your needle size is correct. You will need your canvas, and here I'm using a cotton/linen blend tote bag that I got for free one time when I was walking around in a mall. You also need scissors. Here I'm using the ginger embroidery scissors. These are the optional materials. 1 is a washable pen to draw your pattern. 2 is a pattern. Mine is a picture of Yoshi that I found online. And 3, something to transfer pattern to the cloth, like a light box or an iPad. Tracing transfer paper. Step 2, you want to transfer your pattern or design to your canvas. I don't show it here, but basically I put my tablet behind my canvas, or in this case, my tote bag, and I trace the piece with a washable pen. Or if you want to make your own freehand design, you can do that too. I will make an in-depth video in the future, so be sure to follow if you'd like to see that. I want to note that if you're thinking about using the loop side as the final product like I'm showing here, you want to make sure the side that you're punching on is the correct way. For example, I want Yoshi's loop stitches to show, so I want to be punching on the opposite side. This will make more sense throughout the tutorial. Step 3. Once you've transferred your pattern onto your canvas, you're going to put your canvas on your hoop or your frame. Here I'm just using an embroidery hoop because it's a tote bag. Usually I would use my punch needle frame, but because this fabric is so thin, it would basically create holes in this tote bag. So you want to do as you always do, make it as tight as you can and make it sure it's as taut as a drum. If you use a hoop like I'm doing here, you will need to re-stretch it often, which you'll see me doing throughout the video, which is why I prefer the frame, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Alright, now that your canvas is on your frame, you want to thread your needle. In this video, for this specific project, I adjusted my needle to 1/2 inch long, as you can see here, and this will determine the height of the loop. You can see that even though I adjusted it to 1/2 inch long, that doesn't necessarily mean my loop is 1/2 inch long. So this one's actually pretty short, but this is kind of what I wanted for my project. You can see how tall it is here. So the shorter the loop and size of the yarn, I notice I have to punch each stitch closer together and vice versa for thicker yarn. Put your threader through the eye of the punch needle and thread it all the way out of the punch needle butt. Now grab your yarn and feed it to the threader sticking out of the punch needle butt. Pull your threader slowly back up and boom, your needle has been threaded. Now you want to leave some tail end in the front of the needle. And you always want to make sure that the yarn you're feeding is loosey-goosey and has some slack. Finally, we can start punching. Hold your punch needle like a pencil. The bevel side, or this angled side, should be facing the direction of your punching. Punch straight down and all the way down until you stop. Now pull the needle up, but make sure not to pull it too far out. The tip should always be touching the canvas. Move it about 1 to 2 millimeters forward and punch straight down again. For this specific project, because I care about the loop side, you want to check the back of your canvas often. You want to make sure that the loops that are being created aren't too crowded, too close to each other, but also not too far apart. So I would suggest checking the back often. However, if you're only cared about the flat stitch side or the side that you're punching on, feel free to vary your stitch length to your heart's content. Before I show you the speed run for the rest of the video, I want to make sure that you don't make the same mistake that I made. I've been punch needling for about almost a year now, and I would say that I still make mistakes with finding the right needle size for your canvas. When I first started this project, I used a 3mm needle, which was too big for this cotton tote bag. As you can see here, the stitches were permanently deformed and it started ripping the weaves. So before you start your project, I would always suggest practice stitching with whatever combination of needle and canvas and yarn. Time for the speed run. Feel free to skip this part, but I find this part really satisfying, and I'll talk about some optional finishings you can do for your project. After you're done with your project, because this is on a tote bag, I won't be gluing the back, but I will be rearranging the loops. It's easier to do this on the frame. You basically get your needle or anything to just check for any cross loops that got into any other loops and push them around. Again, this is just for if you care about the loop side. It's also very relaxing to make it nice or neat, but completely optional. You can take out your project and then iron the canvas so it's not wrinkly. And then you're done. Wear your punch needle tote bag loud and proud. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments and I'll try my best to answer. Please like and subscribe to my channel or come engage with me at Made with Angry on all other platforms. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!